to these few minutes that we have together, these few minutes that we get to spend with ourselves. And so as you have found your way to your spot, maybe it's a familiar spot, you're there all the time, maybe it's a new place where you've landed today, but whatever that spot is, make it yours. Get comfortable. Gently allow your eyes to close or shift down toward the ground. And then let's just go through just a quick body scan and try to release the spots where we are holding on to some tension, some tightness, and see if we can get a little more comfortable, not just in our seat, but throughout every inch of our being. And so just start off checking in at your jaw, in your temples, and the muscles in your face. Okay, I got us on mute. So just check in all the muscles in your face and just scan and see how things feel. And then take that scan just a little lower into your neck and your shoulders. Sometimes we physically carry things there, and sometimes they just sit. And so check in. And then take your awareness right there to heart center and just see how things are feeling emotionally, energetically. Maybe your day has been busy, maybe it's been long and full. Just check in. And then keep going down and release any tension in your hands and in your wrists, in your hips and in your knees, so that you can fully come into a comfortable seat. And once you get there, just take a really deep breath in and let it go. And another big deep breath in and let it go. One more together, breathing in and breathing out. And then settle into a rhythm that feels good. Let the breath be as comfortable as a spot where you are. My heart has been full for many, many hours today. But oftentimes when the heart is full, it also causes us to pause. And so I want to just take you just on a journey of what my heart has been experiencing lately. And then what piece of it still tends to be just a little bit heavy. Because my guess is that somewhere deep within you, you may be feeling these exact same things. I study a lot. I read a lot. I try to bring as much inspiration and spiritual teachings into my day and in my minutes as I can. And sometimes these things inspire me and make me feel like I can change the world. And sometimes they reveal things to me. And then I look out and I just think it feels impossible. And I'm sure we all kind of gravitate from one side of the possibilities and the potential of what we can do and how we can impact our world. And then reality sets in and it feels really big and really insurmountable. And then ironically enough, I had the privilege tonight to teach a yoga class. This fun thing that we do on Sundays in the summer, this yoga class, to the songs of Bob Marley and the Wailers. And as I was preparing this playlist and thinking of which songs would really represent what I thought to be this picture of this man's life and what he contributed, not just to the music world, but to our history, I started to think about how many other people have done what he's done. His heart was breaking over the disharmony, the separation, the trauma in his country, and he tried to do something about it through lyrics, through melodies, through bringing people together through music. But not long before him, a man did the very same thing in the southern part of the United States. The life of Dr. Martin Luther King was also filled with this idea that everywhere he looked, he saw separation and disharmony and trauma. And through speeches and actions, he wanted to bring people together and lessen the impact of these ways of the world. And then you just go back a few years prior to him, and then you've got the life of Gandhi. The same thing. A different place than these other two, but the same thing, seeing disharmony and trauma and separateness. And through action, through speeches, trying to change people's minds and people's hearts. And so I really sat with these lyrics, and it wasn't that it was frustrating, but there was this moment when I thought, haven't we figured this out yet? How do we as humanity continue to allow separation and differences to decide the path of humanity? Bob Marley talked about it, this one love, this love being the core of every action that he made. Martin Luther King talked about it. Talked about a dream and how he wanted it to be reality. Gandhi talked about it. He talked about how through a life of non-harm and truth, he could teach us something different. And then I paused and I thought about our yoga practice. We have it here as we meditate. Some of us have it physically on a mat. Some of us have it through our breath work. Some of us have it through our study. It's all yoga. And the word yoga means union. And so then my spirit was lifted just back up a little more, and I realized the way through the separation, not around it, not over it, the way through the separation is the union. You and I, two people, finding harmony, finding a sense of humanity, finding compassion for one another, and then we each go and do the same for someone else. We extend grace and love and kindness, and then it's extended back. And so it goes. I think sometimes we think the world has gotten worse since the Bob Marleys and the Dr. Kings and the Gandhis of the world. But mankind, humanity has been struggling with these things for thousands of years. So while our task is still very similar to the task of people in our history, I would also say that our solution is very similar as well. All three of these people had a deep faith. They may have called this divine energy or this divine source in their lives by different names, but they all had a deep faith. And while yoga has this union between you and me, between parts of humanity, the core of yoga is this reunion between us and our source. Again, whatever name that you assign to that based on your belief system and your practices, we were all created. And if we can figure out how to reunite with this divine presence within us, we'll have our solution for these problems that have plagued humanity for thousands of years. There's 8 billion of us. Imagine if each one could begin to see the light and the strength and the compassion within themselves, and then start to extend it to others. I think that's the message that Bob Marley had with his lyrics. I think that is the message that Dr. King had with every letter he wrote. And I know with certainty that is the lesson that Gandhi continued to stand and speak out as a way through the separation. But it starts with us. Can we, as we sit, find our way back inward? Can we feel this union of this divine source, of this gigantic universe dwelling within us? Can we feel the light and the presence? Can we imagine the force within? And then most importantly, can we live a life once we rise up from this spot that exemplifies what we've just discovered within? It is not perfect, and it's not without falls and stumbles. But once we understand this source within us, it does become easier and easier to get back to it. The light doesn't feel as dim anymore. Our path is a little clearer. Our choices are a little easier. But it starts with us. And so again, what started off as this beautiful inspiration, and then it caused some pause and a little disheartening of how far maybe we haven't come. It then returned to this idea of, oh, look how far we have come. There are people, I have to believe, sitting on their cushions right now across this world, doing exactly what we're doing. Working toward the exact thing that we're working toward. Turning their attention inward, seeking their source, whatever name they call it in their language and in their belief system. And then they'll get up and they'll interact with someone and they'll show their light and their compassion and their love. So let's just sit with our light and see if we can find a little clearer path about how. Once we rise up, and the activities of the day continue, and then tomorrow's activities come, let's see if we can sit here and imagine the how. Not just the one foot in front of the other, but truly in our reality. How can we live this practice out every single day in more moments than not? So let's just sit, breathing in slow and deep, breathing out full, complete exhales. You in your spot, me in mine, and us collectively doing it together. And as you continue to breathe, continue to keep your focus, your mind's eye turned inward. And I think our first step as we prepare to close our practice and we prepare to think of the how, our first step is to notice right here and now what it feels like to look inward. What does it feel like just to pause and close your eyes and breathe and look within? The distractions of the world are less. They're not all gone, but they're less. So maybe in the coming days, we each begin to notice what things distract us the most. And when those things come across our path, and the opportunity comes to follow the distraction, to keep with the old habit or the pattern of behavior, maybe we do exactly what we're doing now. We pause, close our eyes, we breathe into the present moment, and we find the light within. And then eventually the eyes will open again. And the power of that distraction will be just a little less. And then it will come again and we'll repeat. Until eventually we're making the choice where our energy goes, where our attention goes. And then in both of those places, the intention and the energy, our love will follow. Separation will begin to become less. Union, harmony, oneness will begin to take its place. I have to believe that these men in these three very different walks of life in three different countries of the world were not wrong. We are meant to live as one, united, in harmony, caring for one another, showing compassion, sitting through each other's suffering, sitting through each other's joy. That is yoga. Union. One. Namaste.